welcome to the Rima Corner. This show is proudly sponsored by Rima Generation Incorporated, and on today's episode, we'll be dealing with our PIS, the Positive Impact section. My name is Emuta Evidence, and I'll be your host for today. I have here with me the Director of Program Planning and Logistics, and his name is Sarhmy. I also have with me one of the community leads in the person of Esther Ndukwe. For today's session of PIS, we are looking at the theme, When Butterfly Fades. We're going to be delving right into the different stages in relationship, when you have the butterflies in your tummy, when it becomes difficult, and when you start understanding each other. So I have the first question here, and it says, describe the butterfly concept in a relationship, not the butterfly that we all know. The butterfly concept in a relationship.
Butterfly concept in a relationship is just butterfly in your tummy, that point in time where you just want to be. You are happy, you are all lovey-dovey. The first 1 week, you are calling the person. You are like, I cannot breathe without hearing your voice. I want to brush my teeth. I'm calling you to select which toothpaste do I need to brush my teeth. Those moments of bliss, happiness, and you just want to be talking to that person on that gladness.
Well, that's actually true, but I would say it's like when a child wants ice cream. Like when you hear that pom 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 pom, all the children in the streets, they are running out to go and get that ice cream. So it's that kind of feeling, like you just want to reach out to the person. You always want to hear the person's voice in the midnight before you sleep. When you wake up, you want to know, did the person wake up well? Did you sleep? Did you dream about me? Those are the butterflies in your tummy.
Can we really call that moment happy moment? I mean, aside that moment, aren't there other happy and blissful moments?
And there are other happy and blissful moments, but that's the most stupid moment. Let's call it that. That's the most stupid moment, because it's at that stage you really want to. In fact, you don't even know what you're doing.
True.
You're already on the farm and you are speaking to the person. You are.
And that's actually the point to start drawing letters on the floor. Like, you want to write your name on the floor as you're walking
on the street. Yeah, those kind of things. So that's the time where you do the most.
You'll be feeling on top of the world. Yes.
So what happens after that moment? I mean, we've identified that this is the butterfly concept. This is how it is. After that time, what happens? The stages.
After that time, your eye will come clear. You will not behold.
This is reality.
You will not behold and see, okay, that joy. You not discover that you have a life outside this thing. You don't want to be. You cannot be calling somebody every time now. That after that talking stage moment has passed, it now dawn on you that I have to work. I have to fend for myself. I cannot be spending 5 hours talking to this person. Reality just sets on. That's the moment where you now test if you truly like this person or not.
I would actually say that even when you get to know the real person, because when you have that butterflies in your tummy, you don't even know the person. You're just seeing that excitement in the person. But when the butterflies has finished flying away, when they've flown away,
you have to that he has long nose.
That's when you have to that. This guy didn't be light skinned. He's not tall, dark, and broad shoulders. He's not what I want. But then you have to be like, that's the reality. You have to be like, he doesn't call me for 5 hours anymore. He doesn't love me anymore.
Well, the truth is this, actually. In those so I don't know if infatuation is the right word to use, but because infatuation is like you're not sure that you like this person, you're just rolling.
And there's always a point like that at some point in most relationships.
What typically happens in this infatuation stage and after then? Like, point them out for us specifically. What happens?
Okay, the infatuation stage is probably when the person's still feeling that butterflies. And after the butterflies is when the reality sets in, like I said earlier. The person will now realize that there's more to this thing, there's more to this relationship than what it was. It's not just about the calls. What are we doing together? What's our purpose? Where do we go from here? What's the plan in 2 years' time? At that butterfly stage, you're not asking those questions. You're asking, have you eaten? What are you wearing today? What hair did you make? Is the hair paining you? But after that infatuation
Maybe
stage,
transfer your headache to me.
exactly. After that infatuation stage, you now realize that, oh, where are you heading to? What's next? What are you doing next month? What book are you reading? What plans do you have? So that's it.
Well, some people don't even get to that point where they start asking the question, what book are we reading or what plans do we have? And eventually, life just sets in on them and they feel like, well, because I'm not feeling this butterfly anymore, I think we are done here. They just pack their bag and go. But beyond feeling that butterfly, infatuation can actually last for a very long time. They're just feeling the love. But what happens thereafter is where we now call commitment to actually love this person. You start seeing flaws. You start seeing what you would have laughed about before. You now start getting all worked up about. Don't press the toothpaste from here. Before you used to love it, but now it's like, why are you always doing this? I've been saying this thing over and over and over again. You're not listening to me. That's the stage after infatuation. You start showing commitment. You now expect commitment. You expect understanding. You expect respect. All this is why you don't demand for all of this. You are just all there for love. And that's what happens after the infatuation stage, when it's as if one is now becoming more demanding, like but I was doing all these things, you're not complaining. Why are you complaining? Why are you nagging? All of a sudden, because you're not growing beyond seeing the person for just love and conversation.
I mean, that's fair enough. So like you said, like you established, that's the part where you start discovering what you are actually doing with this person. You start identifying your purpose. So how do you think that should I say beyond that infatuation or infatuation aside, how do you think that these couples can be able to build intimacy outside physical intimacy? How do you think that they can build intimacy, get to understand each other and the rest of them?
Okay, intimacy comes from different levels. There are physical intimacy, touch and all of that, which is more or less the ultimate. If you guys are actually spiritual, there's a point of spiritual intimacy, there's a point of soulish intimacy. But I think the start point for intimacy begins with meaningful conversations. Meaningful conversations, because there are some people who, in fact, the more you talk to somebody, if you spend quality time talking with somebody, over time you get to start loving the person.
That's true.
Yeah, you get to start just loving the person for who they are. You get to start discovering the person. Oh, does this person think the way I think? Does this person understand the way I understand? And that is where you start deciding whether to stay or not, or to just continue it. Now, if you are the kind of person that is moved by meaningful conversations, or you are somebody that is attracted to somebody that is knowledgeable, by the time you start having this conversation and you see that, oh, this guy is knowledgeable, ultimately you begin to build that intimacy on that realm. But if that person is get sense, just the empty skull, you instead of building intimacy, it becomes repulsive. You like, why am I here? Like, this guy is not my match, and all of that. So I think the first point of building intimacy begins with conversations, meaningful conversations, not just have you eaten and all of that.
Another way you can bring transition into physical intimacy, right?
Without your physical aspect.
That physical aspect. Well, I would say intimacy is first of all physical. Like, you can't build intimacy without having that physical commitment.
Sorry, let's simplify this physical commitment. Because this physical intimacy is in phases, in stages. Well, so let's bring it down. That we said without physical intimacy. The physical intimacy we're talking about here is the intimacy that happens between married couples. That's the one that we did not.
The intimacy of.
You get. That one is outside.
Exactly. Let's simplify it. What physical intimacy?
Okay, that's the point I'm trying to get. If you are Christians, first of all, you can pray together. that would also build that for you guys. And then there are also ways you go out together, take a walk, quality time at
In cases where they are in a distance relationship, what so
that's where you focus more on communication. As you know, they said they usually say so when you talk to somebody so very often, you tend to now become like the person consciously. Sometimes even the way the person talks, maybe the person adds something at the end of the conversation. You now find yourself adding that thing unconsciously because you spent quality time with this person. You don't even know it when you start doing things like, oh, hey, because the person does it and you've heard it so many times. So you just consciously become like that person. That's what spending time does. So it still boils down to communication, proper communication.
I think I agree. And the challenge for long distance relationship is big. Oh, actually, it's big, and everything is covered in communication, and having conversations. But there's a point of intimacy that comes with seeing whom you are talking to, when you are talking to. So probably more video calls if he's in a position where you guys can never ever see. Can never ever see. If you can never ever see, that means that one is arranged marriage. They'll just ship you up. But if it comes to that point where it's a long distance relationship, then you have to rely more on communication, having meaningful conversations.
And once in a while,
And
you can even go and visit that person. Once in a while.
Once in a while. Once in a while. Once in a while, yeah. But how do you know how the person thinks, right? But even in those conversations, you have to be intentional about creating conversations that dive into the person's thought process. Like conversations that make him think,
and you have to
him or her
highlight those
think.
conversations
Like touch every part.
parts like
God of Israel. Part like
Regular parts of the political, social.
don't let them know, is it political and social now? Let's say you ask questions that addresses his value system in life,
okay.
or her value system in life. There's a whole lot of stuff going on now, and people just probably place value on money or on family. You could bring up conversations that has to do around these two, in comparison. Yeah, what do you think about it? How do you think? Now, if the person chooses money, then you obviously know that this guy is a hustler. Is more focused on making money than maintaining the relationship.
And we see that's where the compatibility check comes in.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it comes in. All this check comes in from conversations for the long distance relationship. In case you guys don't see, that's where it comes in. You're checking. Does he think like me? Does he what I value? See what he values and all of that. That's where this check comes in.
Okay. Fair enough. But I still think, okay, let's come down to the peripheral level of the physical intimacy that you mentioned earlier. What are those physical things? Let's say we are, close. The relationship is not a distant relationship. What are those things? Pinpoint those things that you say that, they can do physically that does not include.
One thing in building intimacy is time.
Okay.
You give what you love your time. And even if you don't have that time, but you make an effort, at least there's an effort. You know that, okay, this person is making an effort to actually build intimacy, take the walk together, just go out together, just do something exciting together that will make people come close, like physically. Get to do something, play games, just see a movie or something.
For the spiritual person, what do you think you can do too?
They can see a movie, they can go to the cinema.
For a spiritual person,
I mean,
they should be praying now. What are they going to see a movie for? There, they should fast and pray. Go and.
Does that actually bring people closer?
Yes.
If
yes,
prayers,
it does.
if prayers bring people closer.
Oh, fasting.
Prayer actually does bring people close together.
Yeah, prayer does. The person you pray for, the person you pray with more, actually, you begin to see they just start glory in your face. But beyond that, let's not even over spiritualize everything. I can be praying with you, and you look like my grandmother. Sorry, I'll still not reason you. I'll still not reason. Like she said, spending time together, going out together, taking that walk together. But for a person like me,
So the last question for today, I'm not going to look at anybody, I'm just going to throw the question and anybody can answer the question. The last question is, what are the effective ways you think couples can handle conflicts in the initial excitement, which is the butterfly concept, and then when it fades?
For me, okay, let me start.
The butterfly like on the butterfly stage, and when the butterfly has faded.
How? The butterfly stage, I don't think you will see the problem. You're blinded by the excitement. And even if you do, you won't even take it serious.
Yeah. Love covers a multitude.
Love will just cover the whole thing. But I would say after it now starts to realize, it's not be like there's a veil that just went out of your eyes. You just open the veil and you're not seeing the real person. You're not saying, oh, this person easily snaps. This person easily walks out for me. Like, in addition, because he's walking out in love.
John Walker.
He was walking out in love. He really walked out on you. And it's now you're seeing that it's getting to you. So I would say, you said it's solutions, right? Talk about it. Yes, we should talk. The best solution is to talk. In every problem is to talk. Once you talk, you now hear what the other person has to say. And you also say your own problem, how it's failing, and the person will say why I talked that. If it's something that cannot be sorted out, then you go to just work out together. Or you're separate.
You take a walk together. Together and go your separate.
And go your separate ways. So that's it for me.
For conflict resolutions, as she said, that during the infatuation stage, most times you don't really see this as an issue. When I insulted you, feel like, he called me a fool in love. and then after that phase, he calls you a fool, and you're like, who is a fool? Is your father that is a fool? Your mother that is a fool? Now, how do you resolve all these things? Is, as she said, communication. You have to talk about what makes you annoyed. The truth is, I'm not in your mind. You're not in my mind. So most times we just assume that people just understand us without proper communication. You know better how you should be treated. You know better how you want to be treated. And you don't give another person the responsibility to assume how you should be treated. You actually say it. So when that you have that communication of, okay, these are the things I don't like, these are the things I love, you establish that fact, probably the person begins to adjust. But beyond communication, there's a point where you have to start seeing things from other people's perspective. Major problem of many, what brings conflict most time is that I am holding on to what I know, and you are holding on to what you know. There's no coming to see, okay, this is why I am acting this way. This is why you are acting this way. By the time you start seeing through the lens of the other person, you begin to understand, okay, this is why he's reacting like this.
When we even stand on that, we are just standing so strong. Like, I'm so strong on what I know. I'm so strong on what you know, and we are both standing strong. Meanwhile, it's even a very minor issue.
Yeah, most times.
Or in cases where what you know is actually correct.
Even
you talk about it.
Even when what you know is actually correct, there is, as the Bible says, that love covers multiple of sins. Love is patient, love is kind. Even when you are right, there's a point of arriving. This is the third way to actually resolve conflict, is reaching a compromise.
Okay.
Coming to a compromise. Even when you know that this thing, I am correct, there are sometimes you just have to, okay, you have your way. Let me just allow you have your way. Coming to a compromise of, I know I'm right, but then let's just do it your way. That compromise, and that's a way to resolve conflict.
Like you need to, like at some point in a relationship, for peace to reign, one person has to say I'm sorry, even if you're right, even if you're wrong. Or the both of you just say I'm sorry, and then maybe attention, as they say, you calm down.
That's why.
Okay. So I've successfully established the fact that there is the infatuation stage, which we can tag the butterfly stage, and then there is the reality phase. And then we have also given a few tips on how you can maneuver the hurdles that come with the reality phase. The truth is, the reality phase is not as easy as we have just said, but when you know what you are, after, when you know what you are doing with that particular person, when you know that you want to get serious with this particular person, it's an easy way. It's like something that keeps pulling you to keep doing what you are doing to make things right. So until we see you next time on our next episode, bye for now.